kind of set up for the analyst in the booth with you. And most of the time, that's going to be a former player who's spent many years playing. Where does the selflessness lie? I feel like there's a lot of ego in this industry. You let that other person not necessarily always story tell, but let them be themselves. There's chemistry involved. How did you kind of surrender and let them tell the story or be themselves and kind of push away and let them have their platform for a little bit?
Yeah, I want the people next to me to feel good. I want them to feel like this is their space, because at the end of the day, especially on television, it's still, you know, among the broadcasters, it's still an analyst medium.
Mhm.
I really feel like, the great broadcasts that I listen to and that I watch and that, fans seemingly really respond to and appreciate. I think, the analyst has to be the one to deliver the credibility. Their credibility trickles down to everybody else. And that's an important, technical piece, I think, for any broadcast, for any good broadcast, to remember that this is the person who's been in that moment,
Mhm.
been in those tough spots, and they've been in situations like this or exactly like the one that you're watching right now. And, their insight can be invaluable in those moments. And I work really hard to be, I know I'm not, but I work really hard to try to be the smartest guy in the room
Mhm.
and not tell anybody about it. Like I think
I
it's
like
easy
that.
it's easy
Yeah.
to see people that are really, really smart, but they're trying to bludgeon you over the head with it. And I don't want to be that person. I want to be your safety net, right? So if something crazy happens, I've got the information to make sure you understand what's happening. If a crazy thing happens, rule related or situationally or whatever it may be, I want to be the person that's your safety net to let you know, hey, if you're confused about something, I'll explain it. But when the game is the thing that we're there to document first and foremost, the person next to me is typically going to be the person that knows best. And the best broadcast relationships I've had going back to my time at ESPN, and whether it was working with Amanda Scarborough on the Women's World Series, or Rebecca Lobo and Carol Lawson on the Final Four, or Dusty Dvorak on college football, or whatever it may be. I think the best partnerships I've had are the ones where I give them the space to really do what they do best, and that's talk about the game that they love and played and experienced firsthand. And they reciprocate that by giving me the space necessary in the biggest moments to then show what my job is, like to make the big call, to, accentuate the big play with our commentary or with a good play-by-play call. I tell young broadcasters all the time, there's only 5 to 10 really, really big moments for a play-by-play announcer in any given game that you have to be perfect. And that's
Mhm.
not necessarily a call of a play.
Right.
It's usually several calls of plays, but it's also that one key rule explanation that you have to make sure you're on top of, or a really good setup to your analysts so that they can go into a topic that they really want, or maybe you set them up on a replay that they really feel strongly about. There's a rollout to break showing, slow motion shots of the players and coaches, and you have a great line that takes you to break. There's only 5 to 10 of those moments per broadcast. And the rest of the time, your job is to be palatable, meaning, can I listen to this person for 2.5 to 4 hours?
Yeah.
Be accurate informationally, make sure the things that you are saying and you've researched are correct, and to sound like you're having a good time with the person that you're standing next to. And I think if we can accomplish those few things, those handful of things, the broadcast will always be better for it, and the analyst still has to be at the forefront of it.
When at the point of your career did you find the balance of all of those things that you listed and said, these are the things that you need to make a good broadcast?
I mean, I still struggle with it at times. It fluctuates week to week sometimes. And,
Yeah.
I spent the last month plus working with, a different football partner. I
Mhm.
went off and did baseball playoffs for Fox, and then came back to the NFL, and I was on a different crew. Our buddy Joe was doing the league championship series and the World Series. So I was filling in on his crew for a month and working with a different analyst. And then this past week, I went back to my regular crew and work with my normal analyst, Mark Schlereth, and just getting back into the rhythm of things. It's still like a week to week thing sometimes. Like I have to remember, what are Mark's quirks and what are the things that Mark likes to talk about? How do I accentuate the things that he really likes to talk about? It's, one week I work with John Smoltz, and one week I work with Eric Karros, and one week I work with AJ Przinsky, and then we do all these games together. Oh, and then by the way, Adam Wainwright's going to join you for the postseason. So that's an adjustment that both AJ and I have to make. But it's, I think all of us have the idea of just what's going to make the best broadcast. And as long as we can remind ourselves of that, and I can remind myself of that as the tone setter of the broadcast, then being conscientious of these things is half the battle to solving them when you actually have to face them on air.